A joyful welcome to everyone. Today's class has some real nuggets in that were life changers for me. And I'm offering that each of us can grow today more than we might have even imagined with the wisdom of the 7 levels of the heart's intelligence. So let's jump right in. This is the 4th dimension of the intelligence within the heart. It may at first seem odd to consider respect as a dimension of intelligence. In fact, a lot of these dimensions of intelligence I was thinking about today, well, they're nice virtues, but are they substantively intelligence? Well, yes, because traditionally it's been used just as a quality of deference to someone in a high place. You respect the king or the queen, or for property belonging to someone else. You have respect for someone's property. Now, Yahshua put it in a broader and deeper context. Respect begins with respect for God, respect for yourself, respect for your brothers and sisters, and for all life forms. Respect is a point of honor, although it's a great deal more than that. Though we are one in spirit, each being is unique in love, purpose, and life. Unique qualities belong to each person and endow them with abilities, freedoms, and responsibilities that may not be present for another. Each person in every aspect of life is irreplaceable. Let that one sink in. That one always ooh, my ego doesn't know how to handle that. You mean I'm not just another one of the trillions of people that can disappear and who would notice? No, irreplaceable in the divine order. What you do not bring to the earth, no one else will. So, respect begins with knowing that you and your Creator have a covenant. In that covenant are all the answers and resources you need to make your life work. Then you extend that right to others. So, in effect, we're building on the intelligence of unity, that is, seeing each being as one with the source, and then secondly, recognizing the love that connects us intimately to each other. We are recognizing the uniquely individualized aspect of each one of us. As Ram Dass points out, the most important aspect of love is not in the giving or the receiving. It's in the being. When I need love from others, or I need to give love to others, I'm caught in an unstable situation. Being in love, rather than giving or taking love, is the only thing that provides stability. Being in love means seeing the beloved all around me. This is the highest form of respect I can show others. As the phrase namaste, the greeting namaste goes, the God in me honors the God in you. Thirdly, honoring the intelligence of life, which has brought us together for a sacred purpose, even here tonight. It's not an accident that we're together to learn and grow. Now, this was such an eye-opener for me. By respecting my covenant with Creator to bring my unique gifts to the world and develop them, I spend less time comparing myself to others and wishing I were more like them. I wish I had their qualities. No, focus on the ones that you have. Conversely, by doing so, then I can respect your unique covenant with the Creator and not think it's my job to make you more like me to justify the way I am. I can love myself for living my purpose and love you for living your purpose in the ways that are not my business to judge or try to change. Sure, we can learn from one another when invited, but my giving you unsolicited advice, if I see you on the street, is often felt like an attack. The implied message is, you're not okay and I need to fix you. So, what can cause us to deny our oneness and loving connection to one another and to create disconnect or separation in our life from others? Well, we can think of a zillion reasons why we're different and we want to separate. But all these are judgments that we put on ourselves. I'm not worthy of them or others. They're not worthy of me. And the common denominator underneath all these judgments is fear. Fear is life energy with the thought that I'm going to be hurt in some way or another. So we disassociate ourselves from those we see as a threat to our well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. The ultimate hurt we impute to be caused by others towards us is death, removing our life force from our body. On a less dramatic but nonetheless ruthlessly effective way, judgments and prejudices are passed on from generation to generation in families and cultures. Don't hang out with those kind of people. Get a job, or you'll be seen as a freeloader. Comb your hair, or you won't get a mate. These are all thought forms that purport to protect us by discriminating against those who are not like us and could deprive us of our way of sustaining life. In other words, they reduce our relationship from unity of oneness or a loving I-thou connection to an I-it relationship. Once our perception has been altered to see others as an it or an enemy, well, then others are disposable, which has led to all manner of atrocities in human history, including ethnic cleansing. Now, of course, that can seem unimaginable to most of us, yet the remnants of judgments causing separation are in all of us, consciously or unconsciously. A microaggression, for example, is a statement, action, or incident regarding as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group, such as a racial or ethnic minority. Oh, you speak English so well, to someone who is not a native English speaker, can be felt as a microaggression. You're so articulate, implying that it's unusual for someone of their race to be intelligible. You're so smart for a woman, implying it's unusual for a woman to be intelligent. Where are you really from? Implying that someone who looks or speaks differently must be of foreign extraction. Now, you might be quite unaware that someone feels disrespected by these comments until they tell you. But this is how we evolve and raise our consciousness, and that is not just between me and others, but of our world in general, is by sharing our feelings in a non-attacking way with one another. Now, those feeling marginalized have to respect themselves enough to be honest about their feelings and in a way that gets them what they really want rather than widening the rift. Those who hear that others are feeling disrespected have to be non-defensive enough and respect themselves enough to hear the feedback and respond compassionately and get what they really want, which is mutual respect. Now, bringing this home to where it starts, that is inside us, let's do a brief inventory of the judgments we've had that separate us from God, ourselves, or others. Then let's find what's the fear behind these judgments and give ourselves the option of starting to replace the separating energy of fear with the unifying energy of love. Again, raising our consciousness and contributing to the increasing consciousness of the world. For example, let's look at handout 1. A judgment I have about myself is, now we're all going to do this together in a little while, but I've decided that if I give personal examples, it might make more sense what these sentence stems are directed towards. So, for example, in my case, a judgment that I've had about myself is that I'm not enough and that I have to prove my worth to be loved. Now, the fear that I have underneath that is I'll be rejected by others for my perceived inadequacy. What is the loving truth on the other side of that fear? Well, I am a being of love who brings unique talents to the world which I'm learning to honor and share more each day. Number 2, a judgment I have about others is, well, they're basically out for their own survival and pleasure. My fear is that others' selfishness will limit my fulfillment or even my survival. What's the loving truth? We all have survival instincts, and our deepest core motivation is toward mutual fulfillment, which I'm witnessing increasingly in my life. Thirdly, a judgment I have towards the world is, oh, the world has gone too far into fear and warfare to see much loving resolution in my lifetime. My fear there is I'm doomed to struggle, but see little payoff in my life in this world. Loving truth on the other side of that. I am surrounding myself with good-hearted, loving community, which makes an ever-increasing impact on the quality of my life and in that of the planet. Now, you'll note in this inventory, I put the statements in the past tense rather than affirming their validity within us now. In other words, I say a fear I have had rather than a fear I have right now. Distancing, not just identifying myself as that fear. All right, so let's take handout 1, releasing judgments, embracing truth. Or if you don't have a printed handout, you can just use a blank piece of paper because Deanna's going to keep this on the screen while we do this together. Or you could even use an electronic device. And complete the 3 sections instinctively from your heart. Don't overthink, but listen to the wisdom of your core and keep breathing easily as you do it. This is not a test, okay? This is an inventory for you to see how fear might be behind judgments that you really don't any longer need to control your life. Again, I ask you to do this now in the group rather than let your mind say, oh, I'll do this later. There's something about doing it together with the energy of the group that gives us all a little more juice. So let's do this together now in the next 3 minutes. So just go right through it. A judgment I have about myself is fear, loving truth. Judgment I have about others is the fear behind it and a loving truth. And a judgment I have toward the world is the fear and the loving truth. Okay, let's do this together now. Okay, now bring yourself back to the group. Bring yourself back with the intention of releasing limiting judgments and fears and living more each day in your loving truth. Make this commitment and you will see your self-respect surprisingly increase with less effort than you might have imagined. The template here of handout 1 can be used in any circumstance in your life. A judgment you have about your partner, the boss, a parent, government, mice in the pantry. Well, you might think I'm joking here, but Yeshua asserts that you can direct pests away with the magnetism of your love rather than by poisoning them. Okay, in the next few minutes, we'll take a few live questions, shares from you. Questions or comments that you have about this last exercise, what value or confusion or whatever it is that came from this exercise. I'd like to get a little dialogue going about it. Okay, so who has something that you have as a question or a comment about what value came to you or a difficulty that you had with this last exercise? So, Barbara, how was that exercise for you?
I thought it was good. It's like I can remember that I've always had this fear. I've never really liked myself, and I've had to work with that all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was reading this, I'm thinking, this is me, and this is something that I have to constantly work on. It's like I need to work on this 24/7. And my fear and my judgment has always been that I'm not enough and that I don't have much to say. And if I say something, I'm always judging if people are hearing what I'm saying, or if what I'm saying is appropriate, or if what I'm saying is making a difference. And so that's always my fear. And so doing this exercise, I realized that, I need to stop those judgments. When I was younger, I always compared myself to others. when I was growing up and in school. So this exercise was really helpful for me.
Okay. If I can ask you, Barbara, what did you come to as the loving truth?
The loving truth for me is that I can open up and talk to people and that I don't have to constantly judge myself about, who I am. Because what I do, I know that I'm really good at my job. So what I do, I focus on what I can do for others. I don't focus on how good I am as a person.
Yes.
And that was what really hit me.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. For someone who thinks they don't have much to say, you've just said a massive amount that I think applies to more than just you, Barbara. And I would not have, just for people here in the audience, so to speak, I know Barbara personally and have had body work from her, which was magnificent. And I would have never thought that about you unless you just told me right now. I would have not thought that about you at all. And let's affirm that by your willingness to share this right now, you kind of bust that bubble. Because, like you said, what you give others, and I've experienced it fully, so I'm not just talking generically. It is true, everyone gives their divine best in whatever way they can. But I know personally from you that I felt it coming through your hands. And so that was such a wonderful share. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.